What is up, Zalter here. Many new players sleep on hexes, but if you know how to use them, they can make almost any build significantly more powerful, and some of them even reduce the damage enemies deal to you. While they are commonly associated with the Hex Mage skill tree, hexes are not exclusive to it and can be incorporated into almost any build. Let's break them down. Hexes are debuffs that can be applied to enemies through a variety of means, with each hex having different effects. After they are applied, they last 240 seconds. I like to group hexes into two categories, elemental hexes and non-elemental hexes. For the elemental hexes, we have Scorched, Chill, Doomed, Curse, and Haunted, which affect fire, frost, lightning, decay, and ethereal elements respectively. Scorched decreases fire damage and resistance by 25% and can be seen as orange particles emitting from the enemy. Chill decreases frost damage and resistance by 25%, shown by blue particles emitting from the enemy. Doomed decreases lightning damage and resistance by 25% and appears as lightning surrounding the enemy. Curse decreases decay damage and resistance by 25% and can be seen as orange and green insects surrounding the enemy. Haunted decreases ethereal damage and resistance by 25%, shown by purple particles emitting from the enemy. For the non-elemental hexes, we have Pain and Confusion. Pain decreases the physical resistance of those affected by 25% and can be seen as red lines surrounding the enemy. Confusion decreases the impact resistance of those affected by 25%, shown by purple squiggly lines surrounding the enemy. Now that we know what hexes are and what they do, let's get into how they can be applied to enemies. There are multiple methods of applying hexes, through equipment, skills, and enchantments. Starting with equipment, here are a few examples across the different hexes. For the elemental hexes, the obsidian bow or certain astral equipment can apply Scorched, the brand or Tuckabacassit can apply Chill, certain gold lich equipment or the Welkin ring can apply Doomed, certain astral equipment can apply Curse, and the bone pistol or haunting beat can apply Haunted. For the non-elemental hexes, the spike trap or mantis great pick can apply Pain, and the cannon pistol or bludgeon trap can apply Confusion. For skills, the 5 elemental hexes each have a dedicated hex skill that applies them directly. Beyond that, Jinx can apply any of the 5 elemental hexes, selected randomly. For Curse and Haunted specifically, the Flamethrower skill can also apply them depending on the lantern used, the Virgin Lantern with a Copper Flame enchantment for Curse, and the Lantern of Souls for Haunted. Pain can be applied by skills including Perfect Strike, Puncture, and Probe. Confusion can be applied by skills including Pommel Counter, Flash Onslaught, and Probe. For enchantments, Rainbow Hex applies all 5 elemental hexes with a 21% buildup, meaning that it takes about 5 hits to apply, making it one of the most powerful hex application methods available. Musing with Philosopher applies Scorched and Chill with a 40% buildup, or Memento applies Scorched and Cursed with a 33% buildup, and Redemption applies Doomed with a 35% buildup. Now that we know how to apply hexes, let's go over the skills that interact with them once they are active on an enemy. The first skill to know is Torment from the Hex Mage skill tree. Torment activates the effects of all hexes currently on the enemy to deal damage and place a negative status effect on the enemies without moving the hexes, meaning that you can trigger them repeatedly on cooldown for as long as the hexes remain active. This makes Torment an incredibly efficient skill for sustained pressure since you are getting repeated value out of a single application of hexes. The second skill is Rupture, also from the Hex Mage skill tree. Rupture detonates all hexes on the enemy, consuming them in exchange for a massive burst of elemental and or impact damage. Unlike Torment, Rupture removes the hexes when it activates, so you will need to reapply them afterward if the enemy survives. Pain has 2 additional skill interactions beyond Torment and Rupture. Opportunist Stab from the Rogue Engineer skill tree deals bonus damage and impact to enemies affected by Pain. Serpent's Parry, also from the Rogue Engineer, is an exclusive skill that applies extreme bleeding to enemies afflicted with pain, making them take damage over time. These 2 skills make Pain particularly valuable for dagger-oriented builds. Confusion also has interactions with Opportunist Stab and Serpent's Parry. While Opportunist Stab has the same interaction with Confusion as it has with Pain, Serpent's Parry causes enemies to be stunned for 4 seconds if they are affected by Confusion. Confusion also has an additional interaction with Sweep Kick from the Rogue Engineer skill tree. Using Sweep Kick against enemies affected by Confusion is guaranteed to knock them down unless the enemy has 100% impact resist. While hexes are a great offensive and defensive tool at your disposal, they are not exclusive to you. Some enemies can also apply hexes to you, so it is worth knowing which ones to watch out for. Scorched can be applied by the Corruption Spirit that spawns if you surpass a certain corruption threshold and the Elite Burning Man boss. Chill can be applied by the Wendigo, the Quartz Beetles, and Quartz Gastrocines in Caldera, and certain bosses and elite enemies. Doomed can be applied by Golden Minions and the unique enemy Lightning Dancer. Curse can be applied by the Pure Illuminator and the Antique Plateau and a couple of unique enemies. Haunted can be applied by Ancient Dwellers and Red or Caldera Ghosts, along with certain bosses and unique enemies. Pain can be applied by a wide variety of enemies, including different types of golems, hive lords, gargoyles, and pearlbirds, along with certain bosses and unique enemies. Confusion can also be applied by a wide variety of enemies, including the Bandit Defender, Mana Troglodyte, and Mantis Shrimp, along with certain bosses and unique enemies. Against any enemy that can apply hexes to you, it is worth carrying hex cleaners or panacea so you are not caught off guard. If you happen to get a hex applied to you, both hex cleaner and panacea will remove it. Given how many enemies can apply hexes, especially pain and confusion, keeping at least a few of these in your inventory is good practice. Now that you have a full understanding of hexes, if you want to see what a build looks like that weaponizes all 5 elemental hexes at once, click on the info card for the Iridescent Blight build. Otherwise, I'll see you later.